everything's working correctly. It sounds good. I don't know if I'm getting audio or not. Am I getting audio? I hope I am. I think if I'm getting audio, it's going to be from this microphone, not from the microphone on the iPad. Let's see. I'm gonna just go here. Bear with me if you're watching this later. And I don't want to listen to the Ray William Johnson right now. Okay. I want to see if my audio is coming through. I think it is. We'll find it. Yeah, it is. That's great. Excellent. All right. So, yeah, I thought I'd just hop on and go live for a little bit. It's been a little while since I've done that. I've had a very weird schedule, a lot of stuff going on, and it's things that I would love to talk to you guys about, update you on if anybody hops on tonight. If they don't, then I'll just delete this and we'll catch on at some other point. But it's been a wild ride lately. It's been a wild ride. A lot of stuff going on, and some of it good, some of it bad, some of it whatever. But it's all taken time. So I have not been on the channel in a long time, and I'm working really hard at putting up some review videos of some effects that I've picked up in the recent months, and also doing some tutorial videos. So I have, and I also have a new product that I'm working on too. So that's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to be trying to get all that out as soon as I can. Life has changed quite a bit in the last couple of months, and it's been really tough to jump on. So I'm not really. Um, hey, how's it going, bud? It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. I am sorry, it has been a while. It's been much longer than I anticipated, a lot longer than I wanted it to be taking, but it's been crazy cuckoo bananas over here. Some of it good, some of it bad. Um, some of it, just is sucking up a lot of time. So it's been really tough to do this. Um, we've had a job change. We've had the kids entered in all kinds of summer things. You haven't been missing any of the lives. I just haven't been able to get on. That's really the thing. And I really wasn't even planning on doing it right now. I just was like, what the heck? I've got a few minutes here. I'm actually working on editing a video. My review of Heartbeat by Illusionist. You heard it here first. I'm trying to get that out to you guys. I'm a little late. I can't jump on all of these things like all the other reviewers, although I've been using it. And hopefully that makes up for it. My experience actually using the app, or either the app or the effect or whatever. Um, Even though I'm not like the first to come out with a video, hopefully mine will be a little bit more thoughtful and in depth after actual performances than some of the other views you get on YouTube. So not the first, but I've picked up here. Let me. I think it's in one of these. Where is it? Here's my notebook. Here's some of the things I've got going on. I've got. I'm going to be talking about the muscle pass. I'm teaching a ring roll, rubber band card slingshot, heartbeat review of steel, review of OTT. Talking about getting a restaurant, which is I think I'm going to share with members only. And then I've got a review of that I'm working on. I'm actually right now in the middle of reviewing Chronoforce Pro, which is something that I am going to be talking about pretty soon. I'm trying to give it all the time it deserves to actually write it out and plan it, because there's a lot you can do with it, and I want to make sure I'm covering everything I possibly can. As it's actually a really interesting app. I really like it. You know me, I'm actually got, for a guy who doesn't like to do phone magic, I have quite a few magic apps. So I want to talk about Chronoforce Pro. Hey, Lucas. Hey, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. If I was on my computer instead of my tablet, I'd be doing like a little celebration-y thing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the support. It helps a lot. Um, so I have not been around very much. I have not, and I don't like it. I don't like how I have fallen off the radar a little bit with you guys, and it's something that's been bothering me. So I'm really trying to get back into it. There's a lot of really cool magic that I want to review for you guys. A lot of mentalism stuff lately. Some some videos, teaching tutorials for things, some marine magic, some other stuff, and yeah. In fact, it too. Thanks for bringing that up, bud. I appreciate that because I have that's another thing on the list for Minotaurs of the channel is I have another video I did, which I am going to be putting up pretty soon. I have another video review I did. I do want to share something cool. I got a standing ovation the other night, which was really special. I was doing a magic show for a house party. Actually, it was a guy who I guess like it was like once or twice a year invited his friends over to the house, and was a time for them to all get together and spend time together as friends. And he saw me performing at a country club. I mentioned that I did house parties. He goes, "Wait a minute, I've got a house party coming up in a couple of weeks, and that would be amazing. Are you available?" And I was like, yes, I am available." So he's like, "Great, you're hired." So got there, was treated like royalty, had a really great time. The guy had a stage built into his house, which was really cool. That was really nice because he had converted part of his garage. I'm sorry, not his garage, his attic into a hangout space. And so it was kind of like almost like a mini nightclub or a mini bar, and it was in his house. So he had all his people over and entertained them from there, and it was really beautifully put together. I guess he's had karaoke done there a lot, so he had a stage built in with a microphone. And so, no, he didn't have that. Um, but I was able to perform on a stage in this person's house, and it was really a really great time. I had a lot of fun. Um, Everybody really seemed to enjoy it, and I got a standing ovation at the end there. That always feels good, you know. So uh, I'm hoping that I'll get to work with him again. He's pretty cool. I had some. This is off topic and not exactly things like I want to talk about on this channel, but I wanted to pull a prank on my girlfriend one time, and being that I'm a magician and I work a lot in nightclubs and restaurants and bars and things, I've got to know a lot of the burlesque community here in Dallas. So just a matter of course it happens, and so I made some friends in that arena. So I was dating this girl this time, and I asked one of my friends, who was a dancer, if I could borrow some with the tassels, and so I got some with the tassels. And when she came home one day, I did a little show. That's the kind of person you're dealing with when you watch this channel. So um, it was one of my sillier moments, but I thought it was fun. So and she thought it was funny. Um, yeah, don't know why we talked about that. Oh wow, you're in Brazil? Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you. I hope you're having a nice walk out tonight, and I appreciate your support. Becoming a Minotaur, that's really something special. I used to have a Patreon, and a lot of the people who are now Minotaurs and channel members were originally Patreon supporters, and they helped me a whole lot, especially during the pandemic. That was probably a renaissance for me for this channel. Whenever I had nothing else to do but create content nonstop, and so that was really cool. But anything that I had on Patreon is now available to Minotaurs and channel members here on this channel. So if you're going to watch some videos as you go through as a member, and you're going to see some stuff that says, "Hey, thank you, patrons," or whatever. That's why it says that. So just to give you a primer, and there's some really cool stuff on there, and I'm going to be adding some more pretty soon. So thank you for your support. I hope you get a lot of enjoyment and a lot of value out of it. Um, it's also a place where you can talk to me a whole lot. So you can post comments on videos. We can talk, chat in strings and whatever, and we can chat about whatever you want. Um, I don't think I'll be on for very late tonight. This was kind of a, hey, let me hop on and see if anybody's on and let them know what's going on with me, that I'm still here. And I'm working hard at getting some content out. It's just trying to find the time in between everything that's been going on. It's so much. It's so much. So, yeah, like I said, I've got And I have a friend coming over to help me tomorrow. He does bullet journaling, and he thinks that by me doing some of that, I'll be able to stay on track and keep things a little bit more organized in my life instead of so chaotic as they are right now. Um, I am excited to talk to you guys about Chronoforce Pro. That's a review I'm going to be getting to in maybe a couple of weeks. I want to make sure I give it the time it deserves to really review it deeply because there's so much you can do with it. And I'd like to, for Minotaurs, come up with some routines using the app that aren't talked about uh, in the instructional video. So that's one of the cool things you get is by being a channel member of Minotaur is that deeper level of stuff, right? I get an app and I design some of my own routines for it, or I have a special handling or whatever for an effect, and I can share those extra things um, in that place. So uh, yeah, I don't have much else going on right now. Just trying to get a handle back on my life. I've been gone for a week. I have a friend who was needing some help. He was going through some surgeries and some other things and needed help around the house. And so I went and lived with him for a week, which was tough on everybody. I mean, he was, not doing well and was pretty unhappy. And of course, I've got a wife and kids, so everything that I normally do, my wife had to take over. We had to get my niece to come help take care of the kids for a day. Um, a lot of shuffling of schedules and things going around. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So this is the first full day and night that I've been back at my house, and it's nice to be back, but it's also kind of surreal. And then I go, oh man, I do actually have a lot of things I need to catch up on. So um, chiefly among them being the YouTube channel, I need to really give this some more love. I've just been out of pocket so much lately because of all the things going on. Um, I plan to do some more live streams. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep Friday nights as the time or not. If there's a new time slot, I'll let you guys know. Um, or I might just have to do it sporadically as I can. I'm also trying to get some more video game content going on my other channel, so that's something I've been meaning to do. So there's a lot of stuff where I've got to just sit down and be like, no, this is what I'm doing, no matter what. I got to get to it. I got to do it. But I don't know, I've got about maybe 10 or 15 videos in the pipeline right now that I got to work on and put out. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it, guys. I'm up late trying to get this done. Um, I'm trying to go more mobile too. That's something that I hope is going to help me. I'm trying to do more stuff, filming more of these videos for my cell phone, and also editing them on my laptop, or excuse me, not my laptop, my iPad, which is what I'm on talking to you guys on now. So that hopefully I can take it more places and shoot parts and edit parts sporadically, and maybe just be a little bit more flexible in how I produce these videos because um, sitting down shooting a video when it's quiet in the house and then doing that is just it's not working. But there's no reason why on my way or if I'm early for a gig or something or I'm in a green room or something, I can't sit and talk about some of this a little bit, you know, shoot a piece at a time and then stitch it together so I get all the parts that I want. I've been scripting videos out a little bit more clearly, so I should be able to put those together, stitch them. So I'm reapproaching everything. I'm reapproaching how I produce content for the channel, when, how, what kinds of things I'll talk about, all of that. So um, yeah, I hope the audio's coming through okay. This is actually coming through this headset right here. It's pretty decent, but it's usually used for video gaming, and so I don't know if the quality's up to snuff. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to watch this later and find out. But it's, again, one of these things where I can get at least a microphone that's closer to my face, and it doesn't matter if I'm further back or whatever, you're still going to get good audio, hopefully. Yeah, no, maybe. But let me back up a little bit, see if I can talk to you guys from over here. Yeah. Me. Yeah, there we go. Maybe that. Maybe that. Cool. Yeah, so here's me. If you guys are in here hanging out, this is what you see. These are my Ronald McDonald shoes. I love them. Uh, I wear them in more places than is probably appropriate. In fact, for a while I thought, you know what? Would be really cool is if I went to a show dressed in a really nice three-piece suit but wearing Crocs. It would certainly be something that nobody ever forgot. I don't know if that would be a positive though. Uh, I like them. I was really fought against them for a long time, and then my rest of my family got them, and I was like, well, heck, everybody else has got them. I guess I should get some too. So I did, and I like them. So um, yeah, I man, feels good just to sit down. I want to know about what's going on with everybody else. I've been gone for so long. I really want to know, what have you guys been up to? Have you been magicking anywhere? Last time I talked to Don or Emerald Magic, he was working on doing a bunch of shows where he's at, and oh gosh, I got to talk to Justin in person. That was actually pretty cool. He was traveling through my neck of the woods, and I got to meet up with him. And I think we talked about that here on a live stream once a little while ago. So I know what he's up to. But I'm kind of curious to see how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing okay. Um, like to get caught up on what's going on in all y'all's lives too, and if you've picked up any new magic you really like, if you're working on anything new, um, I would love to hear it. Real briefly, I'll talk about something else too, which is something I was hoping to talk about in more detail um, for channel members, and also maybe briefly on the main part of the channel, which was that I went restaurant hunting again. I haven't done a restaurant in a really long time, and I was like, well, you know what? Summers are usually pretty light for me. That's not true of all magicians, but I tend to work heavily in the corporate and trade show thing, and there's really not a lot of that going on in the summertime. So I had to figure out a way to help keep other types of business going and make sure that I'm not getting rusty in between. So I was like, well, a restaurant's a really great place to be performing heavily, and so I should probably just go pick one of those up. And I did a little bit of restaurant hunting. I spent a day going around to a couple of really prime candidate places, talked to some managers, arranged a trial night, went and did it, went really great. Um, I came to terms on payment and all that, and then he ran into a snag with who he had to get permission from to get me in there. So um, I'm still in a holding pattern until early next month to find out whether or not they're going to be able to do that. But I thought it'd be really cool if we could, because it's not far from my house and be a good spot to be performing every week. But I did want to share the process with you guys, especially Minotaurs, to kind of talk about how I went about doing all of that, how I went about finding restaurants that I thought were good fit and approaching them, and how I do all of that. And I have this constantly half-finished modern guide to getting restaurant work. But let me zoom in here. That's a good question. Thank you for asking it. What routine have I performed the most since I started working? Probably paperclipped. Paperclipped is it's a Jay Sankey effect. It's pretty famous. I'd be surprised if you have not heard of it. Um, but I do it a little bit differently. So it's basically it's a card to impossible location, and impossible in that it's a paradox. You take out before you start anything. You take out a paper or a folded card on a paper clip. You set it on the table, and you just don't say very much about it. Or we'll get to this later. You can call it your prediction of the future or whatever. It goes down. It's on the table. You can put it under a glass. You can do whatever. It's out of your control. You go through some kind of card routine, picked a card, ambitious card or whatever you want with a signed card. I will talk to you about that. In fact, I think I have a video on that. So if I do, I will try to shoot it your way. Okay. Um, I think actually the Mercury card fold is part of the premium videos you can get as being a member. I'm pretty sure. Maybe one of my other channel members is on can tell you about that. but I will look it up, and if it's not available, then I will either make it available or create it for you. It's not as hard. It feels a little daunting, but it's not as hard as you think it is. So, um, paper clipped is a very cool effect. Originally, it was done as a paradox where you go, hey, look, it's been on the table the whole time. They pick the card, they sign it, the card disappears and is the folded card on the table. It's incredible. The some improvements to it would be if you were to, and I've never gotten the habit of doing it. I probably should. I don't know why. I've made several attempts and I've never got to it. Maybe because if I feel like if it's not broken, don't fix it. But the OSYN or OSIN switch put out by Illusionist and Mark Calabrese is really good. And if there was any question in any spectator's mind about what you were doing, OSIN really fixes that. So I would, if you don't have it, I would recommend you take a look at it. He's got some really cool other ideas on what you can do with it as well, but it's just killer with paper clipped. In fact, they do talk about it in the video. Um, so it's probably the thing I perform the most. Something else I perform a lot is, God, I forget what it's called, but I've been performing a David Williamson effect forever. I can describe the effect, and if somebody knows the name of it, I don't know the name of it anymore. But the effect is somebody picks a card. It's replacing the deck. It's shuffled. You take a guess. It's wrong. You tear up the card. You leave the pieces on the table. And then you say, what was your card? And they go, oh, it was the three of hearts. And you go, oh, okay, well, you take another card and you go, look, if I was to take this card and do this, and the switch places. So now let's say you had a queen of spades and they had a ripped up three of hearts. Now the queen of spades is ripped up and the queen of spades is turned into a three of hearts that's completely restored. So that's the effect. I forget the name of it. I think Theory 11 did a re-release on it a couple of years ago. I don't remember the name of the effect, but I do that quite a lot. Um, that's one of my favorite card effects ever. It's just got so many moments of magic in it in such a short amount of time. I can't think of a better card effect that would leave a stronger impression on people in such a short amount of time. Occasionally, if I have the right situation, I performed Daniel Garcia's Torn, which is a torn and restored card effect, which I really like. I also do. I also really like Socrates Card to Pocket. And that can be found on one of the Easy to Master Card Miracles by Michael Amar videos. I couldn't tell you which volume it is, but that's a really cool effect because you can get up to 4 spectators all involved, all doing something while doing a really cool pick a card trick with a surprise kicker ending. It's a card to pocket with a kicker ending, and you can get 4 people involved, so they're all working together. And I really like those kinds of effects where you can have multiple people all in on the trick at the same time instead of just like you're performing one to one and then everybody else is observing. The more people I can get involved, the better. So I really like Socrates Card to Pocket for that. As far as card magic, those are the ones that I do a lot of. Um, for other types of stuff, I do a lot of mentalism. That's a big, heavy part of what I do. That's mostly what I perform on stage these days. So there's a lot of mentalism that goes into what I perform. Some of the things I can talk about, some of them I can't. Of course, it's a classic. Excuse me. There's the classic nail writer stuff you can do, which is there's a million things you can do with that, and it's always handy to have in your pocket as a mentalist. Um, I tend to do and gravitate a lot towards Bob Cassidy effects. I really like his thinking on the work that he's done, and has some of the most powerful, straightforward mentalism that I think you can do with very minimal props. Um, all good stuff. So I hope that answers your question. If you had more specifically, and of course I've got things in all categories, and my performances are always a mix and a hodgepodge of a lot of different things. But those are some of my more favorite effects that I do right now and have done for a while. There's new stuff making it into the rounds though. I've been doing that magic for, I mean, the most of my career. And the thing is that they evolve, they change, they um, become enhanced over thousands of performances, and so they become these perfect, or as perfect as they're going to get, performance pieces. And so uh, it's really hard to want to get rid of those things because those things are really, really well honed. People like them, and they get you hired to do shows. But at the same time, as a performer and as a creative, you can kind of start to feel a little bit stuck in a box when you've realized there's probably nothing else you can bring to one of these effects, and so you go, okay, I've it's as good as it's going to get. So I should probably move on to something else and start polishing another stone. So that's what I've been doing slowly this year, and especially during the summertime whenever I have a slower time to really take stock of the magic I'm performing. I'll look at new effects and I'll um, work them into a good performable state by the time I get to, um, you know, late August into September, October, November, December, and then January, February, whenever I'm like working really hard. I tend to have a little bit of a dip in my work from May through mid-July. That kind of time right there, about a month and a half or 2.5 months, tends to be a little bit slower paced. I can take, I'll still take shows and things, but I tend to just kind of hang out and work on magic, right? Putting together better stuff, and you know, so I don't know, it was a long tirade, but hopefully some of that was helpful to you or somebody out there. It's getting pretty late. I think I should probably hit it for now. I'm going to try to work a little bit more on a video. Let me answer your question real fast, though, Lucas, before I do go. Do you perform any kind of three-card Monte? I was looking into the existing routines. The Skinner one looks like the best. That's a good question. Thank you. So don't um, I don't really do a three-card Monte. I'm familiar with them. I've played around with them. Skinner does have a really good version as far as I understand. I can't recommend one to you because I don't know, but I think you're right in assuming that Skinner has one of the better ones that's out there. I think that most people like that. There's another one depending on your performance style too. It may not work for your character, for your performance style, but I remember one that was really popular from years ago was called Color Monty. And I think Color Monty was actually based on the handling of Al Skinner. Al Skinner's three card Monty. Could be wrong, but I think so. Color Monty, I remember being really cool because people didn't need to remember suits and everything. It was much simpler and easier to follow from a design standpoint. But I think Al Skinner has one of the better versions that I'm aware of. I do perform two card Monty because it can be done in the hands. A lot of the work that I do, I don't have access to a table. I hope the audio works. Can you guys, somebody signaled to me in the chat if the audio is still working. My headset stopped responding, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. I hope you can. Please give me it's working. Okay, good, good, good. So I tend to work in a lot of, roaming or strolling magic, and so I don't always have the benefit of a table. I have to rely on people's hands, right? What I can do in their hands or in mine or both, and that's about what I got. I like having a table because it opens up the possibilities of what I can perform, but I don't always have the luxury. So three card money is kind of out for me. Um, Two card money works just fine. Garrett Thomas. I don't know if he has a two card Monty out. I mean, in fact, I don't even know whose version I perform, if I'm honest. Um, I do a mix of things that I've brought to the table and things that I remember watching. You have to remember, I'm very old, okay? So back whenever David Blaine had his first Street Magic special in, like, I think it was 96. I was a kid glued to the TV watching him, going, oh man, that's so cool. And I remember him performing the two card Monty for, I think it was the Dallas Cowboys. And
I remember watching that as a young magician and understanding how it worked and going, well, that's just brilliant. That's really cool. So I remember emulating that and then adding my own little extra touches to it. So I don't know it's whatever version or a derivative of whatever version David Blaine used to perform. So, all right, man. All right. Yeah, yeah. Yep, pushing 40. That's, I used to be a lot more freaked out about it, but I think I've come to terms with it. So it'll be all right. A little bit younger than you, but not by much. Um, yeah. So I don't to answer your question. I don't know whose version I perform. It's one of those. There are some magic effects that like I think everybody should have in their arsenal if they're performing. One of them is definitely you brought up Garrett Thomas. Garrett Thomas and Doc Eason put out a project together through I think it was Blue Crown. I want to say, or is Blue Crown or Big Blind Media? I think it was Blue Crown, where they talked about their treatments of anniversary waltz, which is an effect that everybody should have. Everybody should know how to do an anniversary waltz and have it with them. They may not perform it that night, they may not perform it for months, but that moment you can bring that out. What did Max Malini say? Magic only works because people would not believe the amount of preparation magicians make to make those effects happen. That's one instance, right? That's a perfect example of that. Having this stuff to do an anniversary waltz for when the moment calls. I used to do back when I was working more heavily into promoting myself for weddings. I used to go to event venue open houses. They would have an open house, have couples come in, and try and figure out, okay, who am I going to get as a florist? Who am I going to get as a caterer? Who am I going to get as entertainment? If I'm doing entertainment, and I used to meet a lot of couples at these things, and that was a fantastic way to book shows. I remember having a great time doing that. It was like a little mini trade show for the couples that came in, and I would represent myself, my company, and I would connect with the people. And you better believe I was doing anniversary waltz at those things because I've now cemented myself in their mind as somebody that understands what they're going for and touch them on a personal level, which gets them really excited about working with you. So magic by itself and magic for magic's sake is always it's good and fine, and entertainment is doesn't need to have a point necessarily, but whenever you can marry purpose with your entertainment, that's where you're going to start making money as a magician. If I'm to be blunt there, I have a mentor who told me nobody needs a magician. Nobody needs a magician. They may want a magician, but nobody needs a magician. Whenever you go from being a want to being a need, that's whenever you can start commanding higher rates. And in doing arguably maybe some some really good stuff for people, serving. And that's something that I find really deeply meaningful with the trade show work that I do. Is I really enjoy coming from a marketing and sales background, and being able to marry magic with sales and marketing in a way that really transforms how the companies I work with, how they do business and how they get business. That's very satisfying. It's deeply satisfying. I'm actually using my magic to help them, right? Help them in some real tangible way, and that helps them. The company does better. Everybody in the company does better. That means that the employees are doing better. They're able to, I don't know, get that bonus and go to Disneyland with their family, or whatever it is, And you can affect a real change with magic. You can use magic for charity events. You can use it to raise money for schools. You can use it to help celebrate the marriage of two people. You can do some really cool stuff. You can help bring special memories to children and their parents at birthday parties. You have to understand what it is you do and what it is you're really doing. with the magic. And it's not, hey, I do really cool card tricks. Do you want to hire me? So it's something to meditate on. You know, how can you help people with what you do? Because when you start helping people, you're going to be a lot more fulfilled, and then you'll also have a way to make a living doing it. So I don't know who that's for, but I put it out there in the universe for whoever needs to hear that. You know, Lucas, it's never too late. You know, I didn't start going. I didn't go pro until, I mean, 14 years ago. I mean, it's a while now, but I was already adult. You know, already been through college and or part of college, and um, you know, was well on my way to going to do what I was going to do, and then I had lost my last real job, and decided, well, heck, I'm gonna have to go full force into magic, and try to make that work, and it did, and it worked out spectacularly. Not not at first. The first 5-6 years were really rough, but I was making at least what I was making at the old job, and then which wasn't great, but at least it was something, and then went from that to earning more than I ever have before in my life with magic, and having a really good time doing it. Meeting really wonderful people from all around the world, getting to travel, getting to um, experience different cultures and people, and help them, which is really cool. You know, do something meaningful and helpful for them, and also for me and my family. Right? Like, it means that I can trade value for value. I can get, um, yeah. But it's never too late. I was already an adult when I started. You know, I have a friend who, I don't know if he minds me using his name on camera, so I won't, just in case he does. But I met him. I used to work at a magic shop in Main. It was called Main Street Magic and Fun Company in McKinney, Texas. It's a couple cities north of where I live now. And um, you know, I remember when they famously, when they opened up on the downtown historic square, they had like those little uh, tent style chalkboards or whatever on the town square, and they were like saying magic show this way, and I was like, well, that's cool. I was out with my family, went to go check it out, and they were doing a soft opening of the magic shop. And I went in there and I was like, this is so cool. Got to talk to the owners, and I said, man, so I'm so glad you guys are here. Are you hiring? And I'll never forget it. The owner of the company said, consider this your audition. And they let me go behind the counter, and as people were coming in off the summer street, coming in to watch magic and stuff, I went behind the counter at the shop and started demoing products just right there and off the street. And they went, you're hired. And I went, oh, great. When do I start? But I remember when I was working there was a guy who used to come in as a, yeah, I've had some really fun stories like that, you know. So this guy used to work as a server at one of the restaurants on the square, and he would come in, and he saw there was a magic shop there, and he got really, is it curiosity piqued? But he was already, I mean, he was like 20 something, you know, 20, I don't know, 25, 26 or something. Worked as a server, and whenever he got off work, he would come in, chat with the magicians, buy something, practice it, come back, show us, tell, you know, see what we thought, and that went on and on and on and on until he got really good. I mean, he went from not knowing anything about magic to being a very, very respectable sleight of hand magician in, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. And then he got hired on at the shop. And then he started working at the shop. You know, and now he's doing, evangelical magic on the West Coast. You know, it's never too late to start. A viewer of this channel and a member of this channel, Don. Don has been doing magic for a long time, and he came to me a couple of years ago and asked me, he said, hey, I have a question for you. And he's like, I'm thinking about trying to make this magic thing, you know, my job, and asked me some questions about it and got my opinion and thoughts on it. And went out and started doing shows around town, right? So I mean, you can't ever wait for somebody to give you permission. It'll never happen, and that's something that I still have to remind myself. Nobody's going to give me permission. There's nobody I have to ask except for myself, and then I have to be willing to go do the work. So just say, you know what, you can do this. You're going to do this. You are this. Now go get you. Now go do your job. You know. So there's no reason you can't do the same if you want to. Um, just know, as great of a job as it is, it has its ups and downs. Anytime anybody works for themselves, they'll tell you this in any profession. If you work for yourself, you're going to work harder than you ever have at any other job ever. Um, and there will be months and years where you may lose money. You may, try a lot of things and get frustrated and realize that this doesn't work or that doesn't work or why is nobody calling or I went through all this stuff, and now here I am 14 years in, and I'm able to command a comfortable living for myself, but it's feast and famine. For some reason, like 2020 is a perfect example of that. 2020, I was coming off of a really great December, a bunch of holiday parties, was pumped, had some shows booked for the next year already, and they went poof, right? I remember famously the first one that, for me, the first company to pull out from doing a show with me was Amazon. I was supposed to do a show with them. I think it was in February of 2020, and they just said, you know what, call us crazy, but out of an abundance of caution, we think we're going to cancel the event. And I said, oh, well, all right, well, that's somebody being just maybe hyper cautious or something. But then like everybody started calling and everything, and I suddenly went from doing really well, coming off of a really great month, and then suddenly boop, everything happened. And now it's an extreme example, but there are times where you'll be like, you know what, I guess I'll clean my office, But it's good to know what to do and what times. There are things you can do to help with that, right? Like having regular work, that's always nice because people bring you back to a lot of work constantly. That's really nice. I have a couple of clients who I do regular work with several times a month, every month, all year long, which is really nice. That's great when you have those, treat them like gold and take care of those people, because that's really, you really want that. Some other things you can do is find out whenever certain areas you want to work with, start booking entertainment, like for instance, Montessori's and daycares and that kind of stuff. They usually start booking their summer entertainment and summer schedule in February. So if you want to do daycares, at least in the United States, I don't know how it is in Brazil, but I imagine it's probably similar. But daycares are not the highest paying shows, but they're very easy to get, and you can get a lot of them. In the US, there are tons of daycares. I can throw a stone and hit 50 daycares just right there. So you can do a lot of them. So plan ahead and know when to reach out to people. Something else actually helpful, and I'll tell you, I did it the other day, is you can use ChatGPT. If you go to ChatGPT and you ask them, hey, who's usually in charge of booking entertainment at a company, right? You can ask it that. You could say, when do companies start planning their holiday parties? When do daycares start looking for summer activities? You can ask it those things, and so if you don't even know, and maybe you know some magicians, but they're all too tight-lipped to talk about it, ChatGPT actually does know the answer most of the time, and it's surprisingly accurate. So there are some things you can do to use ChatGPT to answer some questions, and don't always trust it, but know that generally it's got a pretty decent idea. So know what market you're in, know when they start looking for what you do, know how to reach out to them, make contact, and then book the shows. And if you do that on a regular basis and you have a marketing calendar, you can keep yourself busy all year round. There it is. Oh, you know what I love ChatGPT for. You can even have ChatGPT make you a marketing calendar. You can have it do that, and it's super helpful. If you needed to write copy for your for a mailer, if you're going to send out like postcards to daycares, for instance, and you need some help wording a mailer, you can write pretty decent copy. I would use it as a start, and then you know I think if you use it straight out of Chat GPT, you're going to find that you're not really going to be happy with, and it's not really going to capture what you want. But if you use that as a skeleton and then build upon it, it's a really nice way to really accelerate your writing, because then you have like, okay, well, I know what it kind of should look like. I have an example here, and I can kind of build from that, and it can be really really handy. There's a lot of really cool things ChatGPT can do. So, excuse me. It's getting pretty late. I think I'm gonna head out, but I want to thank you all very much for coming to join me tonight. I know this was a little bit random. I wasn't expecting to hop on tonight. I just was sitting here and I was like, I could, so why not? So, hope you all are doing well. Thank you for joining the Magic Minute as a member. I really appreciate that, Lucas. And take a look over at all the exclusive videos you have access to now. I think you'll find the Mercury card fold in that list somewhere. And if you don't, please let me know, and I will make that video for you. All right. Thank you guys. Y'all are the best. Love you, and I will see you very soon. Very soon. Leave me a comment. Let me know which ones you've watched. Love to hear from you.